Alright, hey guys. Welcome to your first video of Algebra 1. We're in section 1.1 here today. We're going to talk about expressions and formulas. Alright, first of all, what's our objective today? Our objective, number one, to use the order of operations to evaluate expressions, and number two, to use formulas. So that's what we're going to try to do today. All right, a couple of definitions. First of all, real quickly. A variable. What's a variable? You should know this one. A variable is just a letter that's used to represent an unknown number. We have some number. We don't know what it is, so we can't call it 7 or 5, so we just call it X or Y or something like that. And the other definition here is algebraic expression. An algebraic expression is just an expression that contains one variable. So there's a variable in there somewhere. Alright, so let's get to the main purpose of this today. Let's talk about the order of operations. Okay, you should have seen this before somewhere, hopefully. What is the order of operations, first of all? Okay, good question. It's just a set of rules so we can find the exact value of a numerical expression. So we just have to figure out certain rules. And the question is, why do we need that? Well, the simple answer is everybody needs to get the same answer. Okay? So if we have some expression and somebody works it out one way and somebody works it out another way, you can get different answers. Okay? So if you follow the order of operations, you should get the same answer every time. And what you have to remember is to use the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." That'll help you remember. And as a matter of fact, here we might have a little bit of an advantage over the rest of the country because we have an Aunt Sally, and guess what? She's in Little Rock. So what will happen here, and I'm going to point this out in a few minutes. Let me choose something here to write with. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If I can find my marker here. Where am I? In Little Rock, which means what? L for left, to right. So keep in mind, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally in Little Rock, LR. That's going to be key, and you'll see in a minute there. You might have also learned the expression PEMDAS. Again, that's the same thing. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P stands for parentheses. So that's not only parentheses, it's brackets, it's the squiggly brackets, it's any kind of grouping symbol. Okay, you might have had to have some trouble here with the squiggly brackets. If you had me in Algebra 1, we went over this. But I'm going to teach you a simple way to do that real quick here. Just split the squiggly bracket in half. Think of the top half and the bottom half separately. So when you go to draw this, the top half, you're going to make, oops, that shouldn't happen. You're going to make kind of a skinny S. And then from that same point, you're going to make a backwards skinny S. And I guess I'm holding these down too long when I write. A backwards skinny S. And then what you do is you just kind of put that all together, and so like you'll do it quickly like that, or if it's going the other way, it's a backwards S and then a forwards S. So we can practice in class a little bit there tomorrow. So you start out, when you're doing parentheses, you always start with whatever's inside those parentheses, brackets, squiggly brackets. If there's more than one, if there's brackets within a bracket or parentheses within a bracket, always start with the ones on the inside first. E stands for exponents. So after we do anything in parentheses, then we're going to do all the exponents. M and D stands for multiplication and division. Now, here's the part I was talking about before, the Little Rock. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally in Little Rock. That's where that comes into play. You always have to work left to right. Okay, so down here, left to right. We're always going to work left to right. So that means even though M comes before D in our saying, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, sometimes you're going to do division before multiplication. And that's if division comes before, left to right, the multiplication. And then A and S stands for addition and subtraction. Same rule applies here with the Little Rock, the left to right. Addition comes, normally, it's written first. And a lot of times you do addition before subtraction, but sometimes you might do subtraction before addition, whatever order it comes in when it's left to right. Okay, so like right down here, remember we always work left to right. All right, let's take a look at an example here. Here is an expression, and we want to look at this and we want to figure out, okay, what order do I do this in to get the right answer? All right, well, let's start here. We look at this and I go, oh, hey, there are some brackets here. But then I say, oh, wait a minute, I also have some parentheses. Well, the parentheses are inside of the brackets, so that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with the 4 plus 2. Well, what's 4 plus 2? 6. So now what I've got is I go ahead and I work that out. Oops, sorry. So then I do 4 plus 2 is 6. So now I have 6 squared. Now I'm just going to work this out one step at a time. So I still have the minus 8 plus 3, and then we have the times 4 here at the end. Okay, so that's the first thing we did. 4 plus 2 is 6. Well, what comes next? Okay, remember, please excuse. Excuse is exponents. Well, I look in there, I go, oh, exponent. I've got 6 squared. All right, so what's 6 squared? 6 squared is 36. So that's the next step. Now I have 36 minus 8 plus 3 times 4. Okay, we did exponents. Well, now, once we've done that, now I say, well, I still got these brackets here. I still have these brackets that I have to finish up with. So I am going to do all the numbers here in the brackets. Notice I have subtraction and addition. Remember, that's the A and the S, and please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we are going to work left to right. So I'm going to do this part first. I'm going to do 36 minus 8, which is what? 28. So that's become 28. We still have the plus 3. And then still times 4. And now to finish out those brackets there, 28 plus 3 is 31. And so to finish it out, we go 31 times 4, which would equal 124. So that's what we end up with there for our answer 124 when we work that out. Okay. Algebraic expressions. We mentioned that before. Remember, it's an algebraic expression is an expression that contains one variable. So what's going to happen is sometimes now you might not get all those numbers in there and just work them out. Sometimes that you're going to have to plug something in first for the variables and then work it out. Okay, so that's what we were talking about in the second step there. All right, so here's an example. This is an algebraic expression. Notice we got an M in there and a P in there. But it does tell us what M and P equal. Okay? It says that M is 3, P is negative 4. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug them in. So if M is 3, where M is up here, I'm going to plug in 3. Where P is, you notice P is negative 4, so I'm going to plug in negative 4. And then I have the minus 1 and the squared there. Okay, so all I've done is plug in 3 and negative 4 into the equation. Now I'm going to work it out, just like I did before. Remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So what do we got? Negative 4 minus 1. That's what's in the parentheses. We're going to do that first. Well, what's negative 4 minus 1? Negative 5. So that was my next step. Now I go, okay, what do I have? 3 plus negative 5 squared. I'm going to do the exponent, negative 5 squared. Now be careful. Negative 5 squared is what? A positive 25. So we're going to have 3 plus 25, and then of course that equals 28. Now one thing, let me warn you about this. Okay, I will probably mention this in class as well. On your calculator, be careful how you punch this in. You need to know that negative 5 squared, let me write it down here, negative 5 squared means what? Negative 5 times negative 5. And we know that a negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 5, 25. If you plug this in on your calculator, here's how you have to, like I did here, you have to put in the parentheses. If you just write negative 5 squared, if you type that into your calculator, you know what your calculator is going to tell you? Negative 25. Okay, that is not correct. What's happening here basically is your calculator is treating it like this. If you don't put in parentheses, it treats it like that. So it'll do 5 squared to be 25, then it'll stick the negative on at the end. So be careful. If you're doing negative 5 squared or anything like that, be careful how you plug it in your calculator. Okay? So let's take a look at another example here. X to the 4th is what we've got first. Well, x is what? Negative 3. So we're going to take negative 3, take it to the 4th power, minus 3. W is what? 4. So 3 times 4. And then y is negative 5, so times negative 5. Notice when you have 3wy, that means 3 times w times y. And then on the bottom, y to the 3rd, you have now negative 5 to the 3rd power when you plug in y, plus 2w, and w is 4. So what we've done is we've plugged all our numbers in there. Now we work it out. You might want a calculator every once in a while. But let's start out with negative 3. And again, here's a situation where we're going to have to put parentheses around your negative there. So negative 3 raised to the 4th power. Okay. So negative 3 raised to the 4th power, then we've got 81. What you can do in this next, you can just take, when it's minus 3 times 4 times negative 5, you can just kind of treat that minus 3 as a negative 3. So just go negative 3 times 4 times negative 5. Just do it that way. So you've got, that gives you 60, and of course negative times a negative is a positive, so this is really going to be plus 60. On the bottom, again, it's a negative 5 to the 3rd. Put parentheses around the negative 5. Raised to the 3rd power. That's going to give you a negative 125. Where am I here? So negative 125, and then plus 8. Okay, so we're getting there. We're simplifying it now. 81 plus 60 is 141. And then a negative 125 plus 8 is negative 117. So that gives us a really ugly number there. But you can actually simplify that fraction a little bit. Most of your homework isn't going to be this bad. But you can divide both of these by 3, it looks like. So that's going to give you, when you simplify it here, 47. And then 117 divided by 3 is 39. So it's going to be a negative, well, let me put it up here. You get the idea. Negative 47 over 39. All right? Last thing we got here today, formulas. It's a mathematical sentence that expresses the relationship between certain quantities. If you know one, or if you know everything in there except for one variable, you can find the other ones. So examples of that are going to be area equals length times width, volume equals length times width times height. So if you know two of those, if you know the length and the width, you can plug it in and find the area. If you know the area and the length, you can plug those in and find the width, and so forth. So one last example here. Find the area of the rectangle if the length is 9 centimeters and the width is 5. So remember, rectangle is going to look something like this. So 9 centimeters, 5 centimeters. What did we say? We just used this formula in the last slide there. Area equals length times width. What do we got? 5 and 9 are the length and the width. So all we have to do is plug those in. So area would equal the length, which is 9, the width, which is 5, and so the area would equal 45 centimeters squared. Okay. So area is always in square units, whatever the units may be, in this case centimeters. Okay? Well, that's section 1.1, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.